Good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. My my pet dog is still trying to listen and see what I'm doing. And today, I'd like to, you know, discuss with you about the things that concerns me a lot: immigration, deportation, and all that kind of questions. Now, without going into details and without going into the very complex immigration in America and a very legal uh, immigration process. I talked about it a few days back about deportation and all that. Can I be deported because I'm naturalized a U.S. citizen, meaning I got it not because I was born here, but because through the legal system of acquiring citizenship through naturalization, meaning I got through the process of applying for citizenship, interviewing for the citizenship, taking the test for citizenship, and when I passed, I had to take a note. Okay, so the first thing that I have noted is that the deportation issued by the present government, Mr. Trump, mostly applies to illegal immigrants, ancient migrants who did not pass through gates, immigration, and all that. They have no paperwork, and they came in to the United States illegally. And those who were already present without paperwork and overstaying. Some people have visas, but they are overstaying here. Some Some immigrants have committed crimes and they're going to be sent back. But for the past 2 weeks that I've seen through news outlets mostly, they're doubting that they're going to do a lot, meaning send 11 million back to where they came from. That's a lie. And as far as I've seen, the uh, government of Trump have so far only deported less than 2,000 illegals. There were 300 going 300 by plane to Mexico, 200 by Colombia, about 100 or something to Venezuela, and there's about 100, 200 Indians. And if you count them all, even the Filipinos who voluntarily deported themselves back because of overstaying or TNT in America, there was less than what, only 64 people. Now, in order to, you know, send people back to where they came from, logically 99% of them are going to, run around and stay in America. That's a given. They have come over to America because they wanted to be here, and most of them were desperate people who tried to come down here and get jobs for economic reasons, and rare if ever if they find asylum in America, the reason would be granted because of political and save their lives from evil in their countries. That's rare because no government in this world would kill their own people. Matter of fact, some of the illegal immigrants coming from the south of the border, were freely given the pass to, oh, get out of this country, go back, go to America, and then when you get there, send money back. Obviously, that's one good reason for them to do that. Get to America, send money back, and your 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 country is going to get up a little bit from that. Now, in my situation, I'm 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 thinking they can still deport me if I made a material mistake or a material uh, uh, something I entered on my visa application and all that that I must have forgotten, and I had inadvertently applied with the wrong information in there. So I checked my name. I I checked my. I still have the application now, and I checked my date of birth and all that. All okay. So these are just some of the things that you might have had entered uh, bad information, either by omission or either by not knowing that you're supposed to do it, or either materially you didn't want to do it yourself anyway. So the second one is visa. When I was approved, visa was acquired through convenience. What do I mean by that? For some people, they come to America by marrying a U.S. citizen. Now, it could be construed that some people pay the American citizen a certain amount of money, like $5,000 to $10,000, to get the visa, and when the visa is given to them, to one of the couples who applied for it, they will divorce, and nobody cares if they divorce that now. Having been able to, acquire the visa legally and stayed and followed everything legally, they won't be, they won't, what do I call this? They won't be able to escape from that because once, say for example, it was me, I divorced my wife, I acquired my citizenship before I divorced, and then now I will marry my sweetheart somewhere in the Philippines or in America. That's a marriage by convenience visa. There's still other things that could happen, like I went to America to on a worker's visa, and when I got here, instead of going back, I applied for asylum, or instead of going back, I married somebody who's American citizen, and when I got my visa, I walked away. Those are scenarios that can happen, but thankfully it didn't happen for me. Been happily married for the past 40 years, almost 40 years. So we got that covered, and then we also have, if you commit crimes, even if you're a naturalized citizen or a U.S. citizen, you could still be deported. One of the main reasons you can argue your case is when nobody in that country now lives, your direct descendants or your family no longer lives there. So you have no more connection to that country except yourself, because everybody is in America. How can they deport you when there's nothing in there for you? That's another thing. But I've seen things, weird things happen lately. And do not be a ward of the state, meaning do not beg money, food, sustenance from the United States. Because when you apply and they know that you're applying that through fraud, getting, like for example, medical benefits through fraud, Social Security through fraud, or school or health and all that, if they find out that you are getting this money from the U.S. government fraudulently, you will be reported. So those are the things that concerns me a little bit about situations. But here's the thing: I'm not a lawyer, but when ICE comes up and knocks on the door, first thing you will ask is, "Where's the warrant of arrest?" Where's you cannot just be, you know, taken by on their van and sent straight to the airport to get deported. Nah, not unless you are one of those targeted illegal immigrants or migrants who came over to America without any paperwork. But since you are a U.S. citizen, naturalized, you have more options. Say, for example, if that case happens to me, and they will take me out, I'll ask for them to give me a reason, a warrant. And if they don't have a warrant, you don't need to go with them. And then the second thing is that when you get something in paperwork, read it carefully and answer them by, asking help from a legal professional and do it for you. And as I had mentioned before, there's only a few things that you could be deported, and among which is I mentioned a while ago that, or even before, that if you have uh, materially written in your answers wrong, uh, your answers were wrong, basically because you did it by mistake or something, then you could also be deported by that. But that you have to go to court to defend yourself on that one. Second is that prove that you got the visa by fraudulent means, fraudulent means, and also you become a ward of the state. You commit crimes, and that they can imagine any crime that you. What are these crimes? Crimes of murder, stealing money. I've heard crimes that you have a traffic incident, like speeding ticket. I don't think that would count as a crime. Anything that sends you to jail for that crime, you will be deported. Misdemeanors, I don't think that would count as one reason for you to get deported. Anyway, that's what I can say with my situation, and hopefully the other people who are affected, like the migrants without paperwork, can find some sanctuary. I suggest that if you came in illegally, go find yourself uh, your families or friends or relatives who are in here and stay with them. At least you have some protection there with that. And for those who don't have relatives in America or friends or that, you can find sanctuaries in uh, NGOs. Uh, Say, for example, the Catholic Charities in America. They can they can feed you, but they cannot protect you if the ICE people are going to get you. But be wary with what you do. The first thing I would suggest is find a job that can give you, income without you exposing yourself to ICE, meaning cash in hand, like babysitting, cash in hand, or like washing dishes in a restaurant, or being a say for example a delivery boy. You don't need uh, your social security uh, card. Although it's illegal, if you want to survive, you got to survive. Nothing is illegal when it comes to survival. And what else? Once you have established some money, find a better lawyer or lawyer representation. Find them. And, I know a person who came to America illegally way back in the 80s or 90s. I think it was in the 90s. I rented him a room, and then it showed me a fake Social Security card that had it was in photocopy, and I noticed that the name on that and his name was different. But I let him stay in that room. But he paid for me. His job was to get the rubbish from let's say, for example, at that time you can get this, rubbish for recycling, like cartons, plastic bottles, and all that. He collected all of that in his truck and sold them. That was his job. He was able to get this room. I gave him the lowest amount of money to rent the room, and I found out that he was not by himself. He had a family. He had three kids, his wife, himself. That means there were five of them in one room. I feel bad about it, but that was the only thing that I could do and help them. After about 6 months, the house that I had was sold, and I don't know what happened to them after that, because of course I can no longer, guarantee them because I sold it. The next owner probably kicked them out. So that's one story that I had. The other also as a story that I have was, mm, he was not directly uh, mm, either he did not directly come up to me and look for a job. It was my aunt who hired him to be a gardener, and he's a Filipino guy. And when my aunt said he no longer needs him, my aunt recommended him to me, and I hired him. I paid him good money, cash on hand, and he would go to the yard and, try and fix it. When he was done, I wanted to take care of his situation, but I could give him. He wanted to stay in my garage and just live in the garage, and I said, no, no, you can come in and stay with us. But unfortunately, he said his story that he come up as one of those religious thing. He came up religious thing in Hawaii, and then after that he came down here. He still used his passport to get a ticket from Hawaii to here in the mainland. So when he did that in the mainland, this is already like 7 or 8 years after he, he left Hawaii. He lost his passport. He survived only because other people, Philippine people, were trying to help him out. So I gave him money after his work. Matter of fact, I gave him double so he can stay. After that, I tried to understand. He was afraid that he thought that I would, you know, rat him out to immigration, because at that time, if I if I uh, rat him out, I would begin some money by immigration. Do that. After that, I lost contact. And I don't know what happened to him. But I know for a fact he would not go back to the Philippines. He told me so. He would rather die trying than go back to the Philippines, where he said he won't be able to do that because he sold everything. People was depending on him to give money or send money to his family. Most of the time, the things that the things that preoccupy me is not because I did something bad. I did something by you know fraudulently application and all that. I try not to times because that way I can have an agreement for them to work. And last word: do not give U.S. immigration or the United States of America under Trump administration give them any reason for them to go after you. And by the way, just for information purposes, there were more people. Uh, there were more people deported by Obama. Nobody knew about this because he was doing it. He was deporting people with a smile. Nobody was talking about it because, hey, I see he's a colored president, so you don't think that he would do that to immigrants, but he did. He was the king of king president for deportation. Okay, let's go ahead and end this and see what comes up. I know nothing will come up, but who knows? This is the Trump era. Okay, bye now.